Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, hello, Lana. All right, I am the Shy Hat, and this is HackerFrogs. But let's jump straight into the chat. Lana says, "Hey, it's me again. I'm on time." GX000 said, "Oh, did you buy a new headset?" Yes, I bought a new headset. So people have been saying that my audio quality hasn't been too great, but I'm hoping to solve that by the time the next stream comes around. There's a lot of echo in the room that I'm in, so hopefully my new headset is going to solve all this. Tracy T is here. Hello, Tracy T. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. All right, so we're going to be talking about, we're going on with our HackerFrogs After School web app hacking course, and today we're doing Intro to SQL. All right, so Intro to SQL, it's session number 4, not number 5. I wonder how that got there. All right, so this is the 5th. Is this the 5th? This should be the 4th workshop for Intro to Web App Hacking, but let's take a few moments to review the concepts we learned in the previous workshop. We learned about source code analysis. Source code analysis is the process of analyzing a piece of code for the code of a piece of software with the goal of deeper understanding regarding its function. So it's a common technique used in software security testing, but it requires the software source code to be readily available. We also took a look at OS command injection. So operating system command injection is a web app vulnerability where arbitrary OS commands can be performed on the web server through a web interface. OS command injection can often lead to complete compromise of the web server, and if so, the server can be used as a foothold to attack other machines on the network. Now on to our topic. So we're going to move on to the topic of today's workshop, and it's going to be the SQL database language. So we're not necessarily learning how to hack the SQL database today, but we are learning how to use it in its intended way. So in order to be a hacker, you first have to understand the system that you're trying to hack. So we're going to be learning about SQL today. So what is SQL or SQL? Some people get very upset if you pronounce SQL SQL. Other people don't give a hoot. But structured query language, otherwise known as SQL or SQL, is a programming language used for managing data held in relational databases. So simply put, SQL allows users to access and manage data contained in relational databases, which are common components in most web applications. GX000 says it should be pronounced that. Well, I don't know if I want to pronounce it using that pronunciation. It seems a bit suspicious. All right, so why are we learning about SQL, otherwise known as SQL or Squeal or whatever the heck you want to call it? As far as web app hacking is concerned, insecure implementation of SQL in web apps can lead to a very serious vulnerability called SQL injection. So we'll learn about SQL injection in a later workshop, but we should first learn how to use SQL in its intended manner before learning how to abuse it. So we're going to learn SQL through a game. In a web browser, we're going to navigate to the following URL. So this is going to be mystery.nightlab.com walkthrough. So we're going to do the walkthrough for this particular exercise. I'll provide the link in chat. All right, so let's take a look at what this game is over here. So this is the SQL Murder Mystery. Can you find out who done it? All right, so there has been a murder in SQL City. The SQL Murder Mystery is designed to be both a self-directed lesson to learn SQL concepts and commands, and a fun game for experienced SQL users to solve an intriguing crime. So we're going to be doing the walkthrough for this particular exercise because we don't have a lot of time to learn these commands. But let's talk about what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about the SQL database structure. So it sounds this is very exciting stuff, but we're going to be using this to solve a crime today. So I hope that you can endure the lecture over here. So we're talking about SQL databases. The largest unit in an SQL system is the database. So the database is a bunch of different tables with a bunch of different information in them. And in some systems, there are multiple databases in the system. The largest unit is the database, which contains one or more tables. So we can see here that this particular database, this is an illustration of the database we're going to be working with. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different tables inside of it. And tables themselves are made up of 2 types of elements. So this is an example of some table contents over here. So we have columns whose names identify the data that should be entered into them. So for example, we've got an ID column, a name column, a license ID column, address number. So this is all talking about some people and their addresses. So these are the type of columns that would apply in this case. And we've got rows. Rows contain data entries that correspond to the columns that they fall under. So underneath these columns over here, we've got some different rows. So over here, we've got one for Christopher Petuel, one for Courtney Calderwood, one for Moy Carey. And there's all this information over here under the different columns and rows. And these make up the tables. So the first thing we're going to learn about SQL is the select command. So the select command is the most common SQL command, which returns SQL entries depending on which additional parameters are provided. So over here, this is one SQL command right here. It's select count, and count is a function, and we're getting the information from the person table. This is what this particular command does right here. Select count from person, and if we go over to the murder mystery over here, there are two pieces of information there are three pieces of information that we need to understand in order to start solving the mystery. You remember that the crime was a murder that occurred sometime on January 15th, 2018, and it took place in SQL City. So we've got a place, we've got a date, and we've got a type of crime over here. So we're also learning about how to use these SQL commands while we're solving this mystery. So that's we're kind of doing a lot of things at the same time. So this first command right here answers this question. Just how many people are in this database? So this database that we're working with today is dealing with a lot of people. So this particular function right here, the count function, is going to count up the number of rows in the person table. So select count, function count from person, and it's going to return a number. So this is the count function, and it returns there are 10,011 people in this particular database. So it's a really big database, and we're going to be searching through it to get a bunch of specific information. All right, so let's move on and take a look at some other commands we're going to be learning. So the from command. So the from command specifies which table to retrieve data from. So we used our select command, and I guess from, you could say, is some sort of filter. So we're getting it from person, so the person table. So these are very commonly used commands. So select something from something else. So it's usually select this column name from this table. So we also have the count function. So we were just talking about this. The SQL count function is going to return the number of entries in a specified column. So after we gave this command over here, we received this output, which is the count function returning 10,011 people. So next we're going to talk about the limit filter. So we're going to be limiting our results to a number of a number of rows in this case. So the limit filter restricts the number of entries returned to a number specified. So the limit filter is going to say, okay, only give me the first two of these rows from this query right here. So we're selecting star from person, limit 2, which means, so in SQL this means select all of the columns. So the star means all of the columns from the person table and limit it to 2 entries. So just give me the first 2 entries over here. So if we go over to over here, what do we know about these people? We're going to run this kind of command right here. We're going to select all the information about the people from the person table, and we're going to limit to the first, let's just say the first 3 entries. So if we were to run this, we see that we have our 3 people over here, and we retrieved all of the columns. So these are all of the columns inside of this person table over here. All right. As usual, if there are any questions about any of the concepts that that I'm talking about during this presentation, please let us know in the comments, and we'll try to answer your questions as soon as we can. All right. So next is, what are we talking about next? Next, we're talking about the wildcard character. So the wildcard character can be used in the place of column names in an SQL query and represents all columns in a specified table. So when we say select star, what we mean is all the columns. So star means all columns from the person table. So next we're going to talk about the distinct clause. So the distinct clause will restrict the number of results returned by the query so that there will be no duplicate values. So in this case, we're selecting distinct. Select distinct type. So type is the name of the column from the crime scene report. So this crime scene report table has a bunch of different types of crime listed inside it. But if we're selecting distinct, that means that we're going to throw out all the duplicate entries, and we're only going to get 1 entry for each type of crime involved. Let's take a look at what this means. So here, it's select distinct type from crime scene report. So the column type, we're only going to get the distinct rows from the crime scene report. When we run this, we're going to see these different types of crime. So there's robbery, murder, theft, fraud, arson, bribery, assault, etc. But if we were to run this without distinct, then we're going to see a lot of duplicate entries from this query. So just select type from crime scene report, run it again, and then we're going to see a bunch of duplicates over here. Murder, 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 murder. That's not something that you want to hear if you're the chief of police in your particular town. But this is what happens if you don't use the distinct clause. So if we do distinct, that's not how you spell distinct. And then you run that, then we don't see any duplicates anymore. Okay, let's move over back. So next we're going to talk about the where filter. So we use this a lot when we're using SQL. This is a type of filter where we're able to narrow down our search. So the where filter is the most common SQL filter, and it restricts the results that are returned according to the arguments given to it. So we're going to give an argument, select all the columns from person, where the name over here, so that this name column here is equal to Kinsey Erickson. So in this case, we only return this column because in this case, the name is equal to this particular name right here. So let's go over to select person star from person where name equals Kinsey Erickson. So this here, when we run it, returns this person right here, Kinsey Erickson. But what if we want to return everything where the name is equal to Erickson? So if we're just looking for somebody named Erickson, we could run this, and no data is returned. Okay, so this is where the wildcard characters come in handy. So we can use wildcard characters inside of our search, and it's going to return anything, and then Erickson, and then anything else. So if we were to run this, we were to get anything that that is associated with this string Erickson, and there's anything before it and anything after it. So let's run this. Did I? Okay, well, you know what? I seem to have forgotten how to do this, but we're going to have a refresher a little bit later on. Hold on, let's look over here. Okay, so here the results are restricted to rows where the name column has the text Kinsey Erickson. So the equal operator is used with the where filter to return exact matches. If the contents of a row differ by even a single character, the match will not return. The K in the above example is not capitalized, so a valid match is not found. So if we spell Kinsey Erickson's name with the lowercase k instead of a capital K, then there's not going to be a match because this is case sensitive. Next, we're going to talk about the AND clause. The AND clause is used with the where filter to further restrict the results returned, only returning rows that match both parameters on either side of the AND clause. So we've got this this query right here. It's select star from person where name equals John Dial and address street name equals Ice House Avenue. So we're looking for two things in this case. So we're making sure that the name is equal to John Dial, and we're also checking that the address street name is equal to Ice House Avenue. And if either of these is not true, then this entry is not going to appear. So let's go down to, let's just do this ourselves. Okay, so name equals Kinsey Erickson. Let's run this. And this person lives on Northwestern Drive. So we can modify this over here. And we can add our AND clause. And in this particular application, we can separate it this on different lines, and it still works. So, which is very useful when we're trying to write legible queries. So and address street name equals Northwestern Drive. So this is still going to appear when we run this query because these two conditions are met right here. But if for some reason so we're going to run this, and this still appears. But if this were to be something different, not Northwestern Drive, but just Northwestern, and were to run this, it would say no data found right here. Okay? So we're going to be using the AND clause a lot when we're solving the mystery, but before we solve the mystery, there are a couple more things we need to learn. So we have to learn about the like operator and the percent wildcard. So the like operator is used with the, actually, you know what? Right now, we can get the basic information about this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get the crime scene report. So let me take a look at my presentation. Okay. Actually, we're going to learn about a couple more functions before we go on and get the crime scene report for this case. Just a second. All right, so we're going to learn about the like operator and the percent wildcard. The like operator is used with the percent wildcard character to return partial matches. The percent symbol matches any characters on its respective side of the string. So if we want to get partial matches, say that we didn't know necessarily what John's last name was, or what Ice House, if it was a street or a drive or an avenue, we didn't know. We could use these. We'd use like instead of the equal sign to try to get a partial match. So in our case with Kinsey Erickson over here, so we would, if we want to return anything with Kinsey in the name, we would use the like operator instead of the equals operator. So like Kinsey, but let's just return anybody with the name Kinsey over here. And these percent wildcard characters, are going to let us know that anything can be before Kinsey, anything can be after Kinsey. So let's run this. And there's only one Kinsey, but maybe there's more than one Erickson. So let's run this with Erickson. And there's only one Erickson, but maybe there's more than one John. So how many Johns are there in the database? So there's a lot of Johns in this database. So in this case, we were getting all of the entries where the person's name was kind of like John. So there's a lot of Johns. And John's not just the first name either. It could be in the last name as well. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the next concept. We're going to talk about the upper and lower functions. So these are a couple of functions we can use inside of SQL, and they're used to render output in all uppercase or lowercase letters, respectively. So if we were to select uppercase name, lowercase name from person, where name equals Kinsey Erickson, then we would get these two right here. These two is the results, one with Kinsey Erickson in all uppercase and another one with Kinsey Erickson in all lowercase. So this is useful in, so it can also be used in the where portion of a query to match results where the capitalization of a search term is unknown. So if we don't know necessarily where the capital letters are going to appear in any string, we should use this, either the lower or the upper function, in order to return a match. All right, so next we're going to take a look at the sum function, and the sum function is used to return the sum of all entries in a specified column. So this is basically used to add up a bunch of numbers in the column. It's I guess it's useful when you're doing accounting or any other type of like mathematical operation. So in this case, if we were to sum up all of the ages from the driver's license table, and we're to take these 10,000 people and get the sum of their age, we would get this really big number: 50,000, 500,000, 500,000, something. And the average function. So the average function is used to return the average value of all the entries in a specified column. So it basically takes the numbers in all the columns, and it's going to add them all up and divide by the number of entries. So we can get an average age with this query right here, which returns that we have 53 years old as the average age in this database, which skews pretty old. All right, so the min function and the max and min functions are used to return either the maximum or minimum values of a specified column, respectively. So if we were to get the maximum age in the driver's license table, we would see that the maximum age in here is 89. So the oldest people in this database are 89 years old. Okay, so I think this might be the last one, the last function we need to understand before we get the crime scene report. So the order by keyword is used to return rows in ascending order from A to Z or in small to large numbers, depending on the name of the column provided. So this is useful if we want to return the rows in a specific order. So if we want to return by the maximum age going down, we could actually, what are we doing here? So we're ordering them by ID. Okay, so this is we're going in ascending order, which means that the ID number is going to be from smallest to largest. But we can order these by anything. We can order them by age or by height, and we could return the results in a very specific order. And the ascending and descending keywords are used with the order by keyword to return rows in ascending order or descending order, respectively. So we use ascending in this case, but we could also specify descending order as well. Okay, so now it's time to obtain the crime scene report. So everybody, what I want you to do is I want you to try to retrieve this on your own using this information right here. So the type of crime is murder, and the date of the crime is January 15th, 2018, which is this inside of the database, and the city is SQL City. Using this information, we're going to obtain info from the crime scene report table. So I'm going to provide this info to everybody in chat. So type is murder. And the date is this date. And the city is SQL City. And the table we're talking about is the crime scene report table. Okay, so I have provided these details in the chat. If you want, you can go to the chat and you can get the details from there. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get the murderer from the crime scene report. The type is murder, of course, and the city is SQL City. So let's try to retrieve this crime scene report together. If you're able to get the crime scene report, please type "I got it" in chat with a smiley face. So let's try to craft this SQL query. So the city is equal to SQL City, and the type is murder. And we're getting all the columns from the crime scene report. But most importantly, we have to include one more thing. The one more thing is the date. So we have to include the date. Is this what we're looking for? Hold on. So we're looking inside of this, the crime scene report. Yeah, we're looking for the date, right? Okay. And the date is equal to 2018 01/15. Okay, so let's run this query and see if it tells us the information we need. So we run this, and then we get the information. So it says incorrect over here, but you don't have to worry about that. All that matters is that we get this information right here. So this is the date we specified, this is the type of crime we specified, and this is the city we specified. So over here it says, security footage shows that there were 2 witnesses. The first witness lives at the last house on Northwestern Drive, and the second witness, named Annabelle, lives somewhere on Franklin Avenue. So the next thing we need to do after we get this crime scene report is that we need to question the witnesses. But before we question the witnesses, we have to learn a little bit more about SQL. So let's go back. So we can use the following query to retrieve the crime report. So select star from crime scene report, where type equals murder and city equals SQL City and date equals this date. So next thing we need to do is we need to identify the witnesses. Now that we know one of the witnesses lives at Tracy T, gets it, they got it, okay. So now that we know that one of the witnesses lives at the last address on Northwestern Drive, and another whose name is Annabelle, who lives on Franklin Avenue, we're going to send 1 or 2 queries to the SQL database person table. So we're looking on the person table to obtain the full names of the witnesses. Remember, we can use partial matches, name, like, example. in this case, example, and then anything after example is valid. Okay. So does anybody in chat know how we would craft the like partial match to look for Annabelle? So what would we do for Annabelle? It would be something like select all from name select all from person where name is like Annabelle. So let me demonstrate. So select all from person where name like, and it was Annabelle. Okay, so if we were to run this, we should put a semicolon at the end of this. So it shows us a lot of different Annabelles over here. So we don't know which one of these Annabelles it is, except that we know which street that they live on. So we know it's like Annabelle and address street name is equal to Franklin Avenue. So if we were to add this and then were to run this again, then we know it's this person right here, Annabelle Miller. Okay, so we have Annabelle Miller. Let's see if you can solve the next one, which is the person who lives at the last address on Northwestern Drive. So how do we solve this one? So last address on Northwestern Drive. So we're looking at, I think we're looking at address street name. Hold on. So we know that there's an address street name column, and we also know that there's an address number. So these two are important for getting the identity of the other witness. So how do we do this? So we know that the address street name is equal to Northwestern Drive. But we also know that we're also looking for address and we're also looking for is it the first or the last house? So the last house would be the maximum, right? Max is the function name, and we're looking at address number. And I think this might do it. Let me check. Okay, I can't use max address number. So what do you think the solution might be? Okay, so we can use the following query to identify the first witness. So the first witness we identify by using select star from person where address street. Oh, we don't even need the and. It's address street name equals Northwestern Drive. We have to order it by the address number column from descending, and then limit it to 1. Okay, so let me copy this. Okay, so we order it by the address number in descending order and limit to 1. Let's return this. And the other name that we got is Morty Shapiro. And they live on Northwestern Drive, and the address number is the maximum address number for this particular column. All right. All right, so next. We're going to retrieve the interview transcripts. So now that we have the witness names, we can make a query with data from both the person and the interview tables. So this is going to be the last major concept we're going to learn about SQL in this lesson. We have to learn a little bit more about SQL keywords. So we're going to learn how to do join queries. So join queries are queries that include information from more than one table. So in this case, we need to select the person table name column and the income table annual income column from the income table. We're going to join the person table on these two columns. Okay, so it might seem a little bit complicated, but let me explain. So here we're selecting data from both the person table and the income table, but to do so, the join clause must be used. So we use this special clause right here called join, and we need to get two special columns from each one of these tables. When returned, the query incorporates search criteria from both the income and person tables. So in order to do so, one important thing to notice is the on clause. So line 4 over here, on, which provides the system with the columns which connects the tables involved in the query. So these two tables are actually connected in the database through these columns right here. So there's an SSN column in the income table, and there's an SSN column in the person table. And in order to do the join query, we have to specify where these two tables are connected. So these connecting columns are called the primary key and the foreign key, and the columns are connected through the relational nature of SQL systems. So relational databases are databases where data in one table on the database can be connected to data in another table on the database. So we see that there are these two tables inside of this database here, and these two tables are connected by these two columns right here. And you can tell that they're connected inside of this chart by there's a key, and there's an arrow over here that point one column to the other column. And if you take a look over at the SQL Murder Mystery over back at the top of the web page, there's this chart right here, and this chart right here is called the entity relationship diagram. So you can see that inside of the entity relationship diagram that these tables over here are related to each other through these different columns. So this column is related to this column, and this column is related to this column. So we're going to need to know about these different relationships in order to do these join queries. And these join queries, we're going to be using these join queries in order to get our crime scene report. No, not the crime scene report, the interviews. So we're going to be linking the crime scene report. We're going to be getting the, no, sorry. I messed up again. We're going to be getting the interview, and we're going to be linking the interview with the person table. So it's the person table and the interview table, and they're connected by these two columns right here, the ID column in the person table and the person underscore ID column in the interview table. All right? So So in this database, the getFitNow check-in table and the getFitNow member table are related through the member ID and ID columns respectively. All right? So in this relationship, the ID column is the primary key and the membership ID column is the foreign key. So in this case, we don't need to pay too much attention which column is the primary key and the foreign key. It doesn't make too much of a difference. So the other thing we need to do before we can get the interviews is we need to know about the OR clause. The OR clause is another clause we can use with the where filter, and it returns entries if a match is found for either of the two conditions on either side of it. So we're looking for all of the columns from person where the name is Kinsey Erickson or the name is John Dial. So the OR clause is going to return both of these. If these exist, it's going to return both of these. If one of these doesn't exist, it's only going to return one. So now we're going to retrieve the interview transcripts. So now we have enough information about SQL join queries. We're going to make a query with data from both the person and interview tables. We need to select the person.name. So we can also refer to the columns in this format. It's a table.column, and here table.column. And we're going to join the two tables on the interview.personID and person.ID columns. We're going to remember that the name is either Anna Miller or Morty Shapiro, and we're going to try to get their interviews. All right, so let's try to, let's try to retrieve these, okay? So I'm going to paste all of the relevant information. Into the chat. And if you manage to get the interview from either one of these, please let us know in the chat by saying I got it. Okay, so this should be the relevant information that you're trying to get. Let's go back to the SQL Murder Mystery. Okay, so we're going to write a query that identifies the first witness. There's more than one way to do it, so you may learn the answer even if the results say incorrect. So we need to select. So we're going to get the person.name and the interview.transcript. So it's going to be person.name and it's going to be interview.transcript. And we need to join these. So it's going to be no such column person.name. Wait, is there no such column person.name? GX000 says hack the planet. Okay, hack the planet indeed. Let me take a look at the names on here. Person.name. Person.name does exist. I don't know why it's Okay, so we're going to join. So we're going to join interview that person ID on person.id. And we're going to see this could be where our name is equal to Annabelle Miller. Sure do hope I have this correct. So syntax error on join. Hold on, let me take a look at the what is the syntax for join one more time? I should look at my own. Okay. So select these things from, we need to from join. From person, from join. Hold on. From interview join person. Okay, I need this equal sign over here. Okay, and then so this should work over here. So select person.name, interview.transcript. From interview, join the person, and then we specify where the tables are joined, these two columns where the name is equal to Annabelle Miller. So we run this, and then we got this this testimony over here. So Annabelle Miller says, I saw the murder happen and I recognized the killer from my gym where I was working out last week on January the 9th. So we got a bunch of information over here. But let's get the second witness. So the second witness, their name is Morty Shapiro. All right, so run this. And then Morty Shapiro here says, I heard a gunshot and then I saw a man run out. He had a Get Fit Now gym bag. The membership number on the bag started with 48Z. Only gold members have those bags. The man got into a car with a plate that included H42W. Okay, so, GX00 says inner join, outer join. Inner join, outer join. I think what we're doing here is known as an inner join, but outer join is another type of join query inside of SQL. Okay, so let's go back to so we obtained the following information about the murder from the witnesses. So we've got this information right here about the murderer. The suspect is male. He had a Get Fit Now gym bag, and he's a gold member. The gym membership starts with this string right here, 84Z, and the suspect's license plate number contains the string H42W. And the suspect was at the gym on January 9th, which is this date right here. So how can we construct a string that identifies the murderer? So we've got a bunch of different tables over here. So to make all these join queries, we need to know which tables and columns are involved. So first of all, the suspect is male. So that is person.name. I don't think this is person.name. I think this is person.something else. Hold on. In this case, is there a gender? Okay, this is driver's license. Driver's license dot gender over here. Okay, so let's go back. So the suspect is male. That's driver's license dot gender, and they're a Get Fit Now Gold member, and that's Get Fit Now member dot membership status. And the gym membership status, gym membership number starts with 84Z, and that's the Get Fit Now member dot ID. The license plate number contains this string right here, and that is the driver's license dot plate number. And they were at the gym on January 9th, which is Get Fit Now check-in dot check-in date. So this is all very, let's see if I can just give all this information to the people in the chat without, okay, so we can use this kind of information to locate the, to identify the murderer. So this is how these different tables are related to each other. Okay, so we've got person.id and GetFitNow member, these two tables, is connected on the person ID and the GetFitNow member, and the ID on the person table. So on the GetFitNow member ID, we're going to join the GetFitNow check-in membership ID, like this. For the driver's license and the person tables, we're going to connect the driver's license ID column to the person.license ID column over here. So the following query is going to retrieve the name of the murderer. Okay, so everybody, let's take a look over here. This is a very long query, and I'll provide this to the people in the chat. And it's a doozy. Okay, so let's break this down. So we're going to do it inside of the so in any of these, we can put this this query into any of these interactive fields right here. But let's take a look at what's going on over here. So we're going to get the person's name from the name column from the person table from person. We're going to join the GetFitNow member table on person ID and these two table columns right here. We're going to join GetFitNow check-in, this table, on these two columns right here. We're going to join the driver's license to the query, where the driver's license is connected to person on these two columns. And then we're going to give a couple of clauses, which is all lowercase. GetFitNow membership status has to be gold, and the check-in date has to be this date, and the driver's license plate has to be like. So it's going to partially match this string right here. And the getFitNow member ID, the ID number, it's going to partially match this right here. Okay, so after we've done all of that, then we can run this and we can get the identity of the murderer in this case. So let's run this. So here we get one name, it is Jeremy Bowers. So let's identify the murderer. Okay, so here what we can do is we can identify the murderer. We're going to insert into the solution the name of the person, and we're going to paste in the name Jeremy Bowers. And then we're going to run this. So it says, congratulations, you found the murderer, but wait, there's more. If you're up for a challenge, try querying the interview transcript of the murderer to find the real villain behind this crime. Okay, so we're going to cut this short because we need a little bit of time to review what we learned in today's lesson. I highly recommend learning more about SQL if you are interested in databases, and certainly when you're hacking databases, you need to know some basic commands in SQL to be able to get the information you want and to exploit the database. We'll be going over more about SQL in the next couple of weeks, where we'll be doing our SQL injection lessons. So let's take a look at what we learned today. So the SQL language. So structured query language is a programming language used for managing data held in relational databases. Relational databases are databases where data in one table in the database can be connected to data in another table in the database. The select command is common to all SQL queries looking to return specific info from the database. And the where filter allows very specific information to be returned by a query. In order for SQL queries to return information from more than one table, the join keyword must be used to connect all the tables involved. What's next? So in the next HackerFrogs After School Web Exploitation Workshop, we'll learn about SQL injection vulnerabilities with the Try Hack Me platform. So everybody, that's all for today for HackerFrogs web app hacking. But we're going to be moving on into, GXS000 says, thank you very much, GX000. And thank you very much for being here. And thank you for redeeming the frog song. All right, so next we're going to be moving into our second topic for today. That's not the rap song. The rap song is all the things. So you can go ahead and redeem all the things if you like. So is...
This one's dedicated to all the hackers. Yo.
Thank you very much, GX000. I'll see you at the next Vans 80sec, and hopefully we can get a beer over there. All right. So everybody, I'm going to... Oh, the music stopped. I'm going to start up the music again. Where is my music? Oh, it's still going. It's just really quiet. Hold on. Let me make this a little louder. Okay, and we're going to move on into our AI topic for today. We're going to be talking about AI and whether or not it can teach us to speak foreign languages. So this one is foreign languages, question mark. And the topic is AI limit testing. Okay, All right, so everybody, we're going to be answering some questions about AI and whether or not it can help us learn foreign languages. Because I'm very interested in whether or not we can use AI to solve all of our problems. And the problem in this case is whether or not we can have AI teach us how to speak foreign languages. So I'm going to go to Gemini. So Gemini is Google's AI chatbot, LLM model. And what we're going to do is we're going to start talking to Gemini, and we're going to see if it can help us learn a foreign language. So to the people in chat, what foreign language do you want to learn? So we're going to see if we can learn some basics about a foreign language. If you're interested in any particular foreign language, let us know in chat, and maybe we can get one from chat. Otherwise, maybe we'll learn either French or Japanese or something else. So Tracy T says Japanese. Okay, we could try Japanese. So the thing about Gemini is that we can speak into the microphone using Gemini. So that's very convenient for us. I'm going to click on Use Microphone. Unable to access microphone, check settings. Okay. Let me grab another browser tab. So this browser tab over here might be better. Let me resize this. Okay. So hello, Gemini. I want to learn Japanese. Can you help me? And then I'll send this on. Okay, absolutely can help you learn Japanese. Just like with French, we can start with the basics and gradually build your vocabulary and grammar. Japanese has its own unique writing system, so we need to cover that as well. Would you like to start with basic greetings and introductions, or perhaps we can have a specific interest in Japanese culture vocabulary that you'd like to focus on? Let me know your preference. Let me see if I can get audio. So the problem with this is that we don't have. Oh, we've got text to speech. Interesting. We've got text to speech here. That's great. Let me try adding this as an audio source for my stream. So just a second. So this is called Gemini, right? Okay. Okay, I'm going to play the audio.
Absolutely. I can help you learn Japanese. Just like with French, we can start with the basics and gradually build your vocabulary and grammar. Japanese has its own unique writing system, so we'll need to cover that as well. Would you like to start with basic greetings and introductions? Or perhaps you have a specific interest in Japanese culture or vocabulary that you'd like to focus on? Let me know your preference.
Okay, everybody. I need to know if that was too loud for you. So that was kind of loud for me. If it was too loud for you, let me know in the chat. I'm going to make this a little. I'm going to start making this a little bit softer because it seemed a bit loud to me. So, all right. So I'm going to ask over here. What are some basic greetings in Japanese? Oh, okay. It took that as readings. Hold on. What are some basic greetings in Japanese? Okay, so the problem here is that I'm afraid that I'm going to get some wonky some wonky pronunciations from the text-to-speech. Let's see how it does.
Basic Japanese greetings. Here are some essential Japanese greetings to get you started. General greetings.
こんにちは、こんにちは、ハロー、グッドアフタヌーン。おはよう、おはよう、グッドモーニング、インフォーマル。おはようございます、おはようございます、グッドモーニング、フォーマル。こんばんは、こんばんは、グッドイブニング。アザーユースフルフレーズ。はじめまして、はじめまして、ナイストゥミートユー。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。Please don't meet you / I hope you'll take care of me.
Would you like to practice saying these greetings? Or perhaps you'd like to learn some basic introductions next?
Okay, so that was actually more impressive than some other AI that I've been interacting with. So in the other AIs that I've interacted with, the text-to-speech was not pronouncing the language in a native way. So the fact that they switched over to the Japanese text-to-speech when we came across the Japanese text is impressive, because otherwise it really would not have. So that's great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak into the microphone and see if it recognizes my Japanese when I speak it. When I speak Japanese, do you say that konnichiwa is a greeting? Okay, so let's see if it'll pronounce this word in the correct way when I do text-to-speech here.
That's correct. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa is
Oh,
a common
geez.
Japanese greeting that translates to hello or good afternoon. It's a versatile greeting that can be used throughout the day. Would you like to practice saying it? Or perhaps you'd like to learn another greeting?
So it didn't switch over to the native pronunciation when in this example. So that's kind of unfortunate. But let's ask the model for some sort of dialogue. So I'm going to ask the model.
That's correct.
Oh, no. This one. Hi, can you create a dialogue in Japanese between two coworkers? Please make the vocabulary at a beginner's level. Okay. All right, so it seems like they've created a short list of vocabulary for us to consume before we take a look at the dialogue. All right, so let's see if the text-to-speech is able to pull this off correctly.
A beginner's Japanese dialogue. Coworkers.
ボキャブラリー。おはよう、おはよう、グッドモーニング、インフォーマル。お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。You've worked hard。コモンオフィスグリーティング。はい、はい、イエス。いいえ、いいえ、ノー。コーヒー、コーヒー、コーヒー。飲みます、飲みます、to drink。
Dialogue.
パーソン A、おはよう、おはよう、グッドモーニング。パーソン B、おはよう、お疲れ様です。おはよう、お疲れ様です。グッドモーニング、ドクト、You've worked hard。パーソン A、ありがとうございます。コーヒー飲みますか？ありがとうございます。コーヒー飲みますか？ Thank you, do you want coffee? パーソン B、はい、お願いします。はい、お願いします。Yes, please.
Would you like to try another dialogue? Or perhaps learn some more vocabulary?
Okay, so the text-to-speech was able to read the Japanese in a native fashion and not use the English pronunciation, but conversely, it wasn't able to pronounce the English words in a native fashion. So that's kind of funny. But the good thing is that we are able to listen to native pronunciation from the text to speech. So this seems plausible that we could learn languages through the use of AI. So, but the question is, like, if I were to read out these words, would it be able to pick up on whether or not my pronunciation is okay? And I don't think it does. But I guess I could try to read out the dialogue over here and see if it's able to pick up my text-to-speech as Japanese or not. So let's try. I'm going to try to read out the dialogue now. Ohayo, ohayo, お疲れ様です。ありがとうございます。コーヒー飲みますか？はい、お願いします。So, the problem here is that I can't do text-to-speech and read out the dialogue because it only recognizes text-to-speech in English. So that's unfortunate. But let's ask the model if I were to speak out the dialogue, would Gemini be able to recognize? Maybe from the phone app, says Ronin. Ronin, hello, and nice to see you. Nice to see you here. Maybe from the phone app, maybe, but be able to recognize my Japanese when inputting from microphone. Okay, so this doesn't really say that it can recognize text-to-speech that's not English, unfortunately. But it was able to recognize one or two words. So if I were to say konnichiwa or like yoroshiku onegaishimasu or something like that, well, actually it probably wouldn't recognize this. But so for example, if I say arigatou gozaimasu, kohi nomimasu ka? It's not going to pick this up. So that's that's kind of a limitation on this. But what it can do is it can make a dialogue for you, and it can read out the dialogue for you, and you are able to pick up vocabulary here. So maybe if I were to just ask for some vocabulary. So I want to go to the beach next weekend. Can you make up a vocabulary list of useful beach items and verbs and nouns for me to study in Japanese? Lana says, I'm copacetic. Copacetic, that's, what does copacetic mean again? Can you tell me, Lana? It's copacetic. It's copacetic. Okay, so we do have a vocabulary list over here, and we can ask it to read this out for us. So once again, everybody, if the text to speech is very, very loud, let us know.
Beach vocabulary in Japanese. Beach items.
ビーチ、ビーチ、ビーチ。砂浜、砂浜、サンディビーチ。海、海、オーシャン、シー。波、波、ウェーブ。砂、スーナ、サンド。貝殻、貝殻、シーシェル。日傘、 日傘、パラソル、ビーチアンブレラ、サングラス、サングラス、サングラス、タオル、タオル、タオル、浮き輪、浮き輪。
Okay, so Ronan asks, did you try ChatGPT? ChatGPT, I could try ChatGPT, but unfortunately it doesn't have microphone. So, but of course I could do ChatGPT. Let's pull that up. And I think so we can't do microphone input. So what we could ask, can you teach me Japanese? Okay, so this so the problem here is that the answer is very verbose. So I'm gonna stop it right here. It's gonna teach me a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna narrow down my query over here. Can you teach me basic Japanese greetings? Okay, so in this case, let's see if it's able to read out. Wait, do we have? Let's see if it's able to read aloud in a way which is actually sounds like Japanese, or if it's going to use the bad text-to-speech accent.
Of course. Here are some basic Japanese greetings that are useful in everyday conversations. Basic Japanese greetings. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. 2. Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Note, you can also say ohayo for a more casual greeting. 3. Good evening. Konbanwa. 4. Good night. Oyasumi nasai. Pronunciation oyasumi nasai. Note, you can also say oyasumi for a more casual version. Goodbye. Sayonara. 6. Arigato. Note, arigatou gozaimasu is a more polite version. 7. Yes. Hi.
Okay, so in this case, they don't switch over to the native pronunciation for Japanese when they're reading this out. So it seems like a slightly worse experience. So I would say that Gemini has the edge over ChatGPT, because in Gemini they'll try to pronounce the words in a more natural way. So let's try the same thing, but in French, because I don't really speak French, so this is actually less. It's not something that I have an ear for as far as the accent is concerned. Let's learn French now. Please teach me. Okay, let's do it with the microphone. Let's learn French now. Please teach me some basic French greetings. Okay, and now let's see if it'll read this out in the native accent, or if it's going to use an English accent.
Let's start with basic French greetings. Bonjour, good morning, hello, formal and informal. This is the most common and versatile greeting. You can use it at any time of day. Bonsoir, good evening. Use this after the sun starts to set. Salut, hi, informal. This is a more casual greeting, suitable for friends and people you know well. Enchanté, nice to meet you. Use this when you meet someone for the first time.
Okay, so it doesn't, but let's try asking it for a French dialogue and see if it switches into the native pronunciation for the French dialogue. Please create an example French dialogue involving two coworkers greeting each other at work. Please make it for beginner level. Okay, so let's see if it's going to read this all out in a bad English accent, or if it's going to switch over to a French accent.
A simple French dialogue between coworkers. Vocabulary.
Bonjour, good morning. Comment allez-vous? How are you? Je vais bien, merci. I'm fine, thank you. Et vous? And you? Au revoir, goodbye.
Dialogue.
Person A, bonjour. Comment allez-vous? Good morning. How are you? Person B, bonjour. Je vais bien, merci. Et vous? Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. And you? Person A, je vais bien aussi, merci. I'm fine too, thank you. Person B, à plus tard. See you later. Person A, au revoir. Goodbye.
Would you like to try practicing this dialogue? Or perhaps you'd like to learn some more phrases for the workplace?
Okay, so this is better. This is better, and I can say for a fact that that Gemini is probably a better option for doing language learning than ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is going to switch into the native accent when it's doing text to speech, and that's going to let you learn. Let you learn the native pronunciation better than ChatGPT, which uses the English accent for all of its words. So, but just to make sure that this is not just a one-off, I'm going to try French with ChatGPT. So please write a lesson dialogue for beginner French involving two coworkers greeting each other in the morning. Okay, and let's see how ChatGPT does. Okay, so wow. Did it repeat? Oh, no. Okay. So it just moved this. Okay, so let's see if it reads these this French vocabulary in a French accent, or if it uses the English one. Because if it uses the English one, this is going to sound very weird.
Sure. Here's a simple dialogue in French for two coworkers greeting each other in the morning. Dis bonjour au bureau. Bonjour Pierre. Bonjour Marie. Comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci. Et toi? Ça va aussi. Tu as passé un bon week-end? Oui, c'était très bien. Et toi? Moi aussi, merci. Prêt pour une nouvelle semaine de travail? Oui, absolument. Allons-y. D'accord? À plus tard. À plus tard. Good morning, Pierre. Good morning, Marie. How are you? I am fine, thank you. And you? I am fine too. Did you have a good weekend? Yes, it was very good. And you? Me too, thank you. Ready for a new work week? Yes, absolutely. Let's go. Okay, see you later. Key vocabulary and phrases. Comment ça va? How are you? Ça va bien.
Okay, so Lana says it is from Old British terms. Old British terms. I'm not too sure. Oh, copacetic is an Old British term. You know what? I'm just gonna look up copacetic. I feel kind of dumb looking up words on stream. Copacetic. Copacetic, it means in excellent order. He said to tell you everything is copacetic. Okay. All right, so I learned today. Today I learned TIL. This is a common Reddit thing. All right, so what did we learn from ChatGPT? So ChatGPT can learn to switch over to native pronunciation when reading out foreign dialogue or foreign words. So let me just check to see if it's not just for French. Let's see if it works for Japanese in this case. So let's do the same thing, but for Japanese. Okay, so this so the vocabulary here is a bit more complex than it was in the previous ones, but let's see if it reads it correctly. All right, so let's do the text to speech.
Sure. Here's a simple dialogue in Japanese for coworkers greeting each other in the morning. 会社での朝の挨拶。おはようございます、たかしさん。おはようございます、まりさん。お元気ですか？はい、元気です。ありがとうございます。私も元気です。週末は？とても楽しかったです。たかしさんは？私も楽しかったです。新しい週の準備はできていますか？はい、もちろんです。はい、そうしましょう。後で会いましょう。Good morning, Takashi. Good morning, Mari. How are you? I am fine.
Okay, so to anybody who speaks Japanese or who listens to Japanese on a regular basis, would you say that the pronunciation from the ChatGPT text-to-speech was native level, or was it slightly below native level, or was it not very good at all? So as a person who studied Japanese for quite a few years, I would say that the text-to-speech speaks with a slight accent. I wouldn't say that the text-to-speech in this case is bad by any means, but it definitely doesn't sound like a native speaker. So there's that. That makes me question whether or not the dialogue from here sounded like native speakers or not in this case. So I'm gonna play this one more time, and I'm gonna see if this sounds like if it has any sort of like English accent in it. Let me try one more time.
Sure. Here's a simple dialogue in French for two co-workers greeting each other in the morning. Dis bonjour au bureau. Bonjour Pierre. Bonjour Marie. Comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci. Et toi? Ça va aussi. Tu as passé un bon week-end? Oui, c'était très bien. Et toi? Moi aussi, merci. Prêt pour une nouvelle semaine de travail? Oui, absolument. Allons-y. D'accord? À plus tard. À plus tard. Good morning, Pierre.
Okay.
Good morning, Marie. How are you?
So in this case, I kind of suspect that this doesn't necessarily sound super native either, but it probably sounds a lot better than some person who's speaking with a bad French accent. So I would say that So ChatGPT is okay at teaching languages, and the text to speech is okay, and you're going to be able to learn how to speak to pronounce words correctly, but maybe the accent is not going to be 100% good, 100% correct rather. But the big problem with ChatGPT is that it doesn't have microphone input. So because it doesn't have microphone input, it might be a bit hard to have a natural and what is the word? Have a natural and rapid conversation with it. So that's some points in Gemini's favor over here. but I don't know if the quality of the dialogue, the quality of the dialogue created by ChatGPT seemed to be a bit higher than the quality of the dialogue created by Gemini. But let's try one more time. So let's try another foreign language here. Let's try German. Okay, so let's learn German now. Wait, allow this time. Let's learn German now. Please create a basic conversational dialogue. Wait, it doesn't use the microphone. Let's learn German now. Let's create a basic conversational dialogue between two German coworkers talking about their weekend. Okay, so I know absolutely nothing about German. Unlike I know a little bit about French because I took French back in high school, so I still remember a few words. But as far as German is concerned, I know pretty much nothing. So let's take a look at this dialogue over here and see if Gemini is able to pronounce this in a way that doesn't sound offensive. Okay, so let's listen.
A basic German conversation between coworkers.
Vocabulary. Wie geht es dir? How are you? Mir geht es gut, danke. I'm good, thanks. Und dir? And you? Am Wochenende, on the weekend. Ich war, was? In der Stadt, in the city. Im Kino, at the cinema. Essen gehen, to go out to eat. Dialog. Person A. Wie geht es dir? Person B. Mir geht es gut, danke. Und dir? Person A. Mir auch. Was hast du am Wochenende gemacht? Person B. Ich war in der Stadt und habe eingekauft. Am Abend war ich im Kino. Person A. Schön. Ich war auch in der Stadt, aber ich war essen gehen.
Translation. Person A. How are you? Person B. I'm good, thanks. And you?
Okay, so it does certainly seem like Gemini switches over to the native speaking text to speech when it detects that there's a large block of foreign language in its output. So that is a very good benefit for using Gemini as a language learning partner, I guess, as a tool. Yeah, but let's just for fun, let's ask for a list of vocabulary. We're hacking live. Aber ich war essen gehen, würde man in Deutsch nicht sagen. I probably butchered that sentence. I'm sorry, we're hacking live. But we're hacking live. I'm very happy that you're here. Please listen to the dialogue and tell me if the text-to-speech sounds native or not, okay? So please have a listen.
Person A. Me too. What did you do on the weekend?
Oh, no.
Person B. I was in the city and went shopping. In the evening, I went to the cinema. Person A. Nice.
I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to start this.
A simple French dialogue.
And then I'm going to start this again, and hopefully it'll go back to the top, and you can listen to the dialogue and see if it sounds like an actual German person.
A basic German conversation between coworkers.
Vocabulary. Wie geht es dir? How are you? Mir geht es gut, danke. I'm good, thanks. Und dir? And you? Am Wochenende, on the weekend. Ich war, was? In der Stadt, in the city. Im Kino, at the cinema. Essen gehen, to go out to eat. Dialog. Person A. Wie geht es dir? Person B. Mir geht es gut, danke. Und dir? Person A. Mir auch. Was hast du am Wochenende gemacht? Person B. Ich war in der Stadt und habe eingekauft. Am Abend war ich im Kino. Person A. Schön. Ich war auch in der Stadt, aber ich war essen gehen.
Translation. Person A. How are you? Person B.
Okay, so we're hacking live. I must ask, I lived there. You spoke okay. I lived there for over 5 years. You spoke okay. Are you referring to ChatGPT or are you referring to ShyHat, the live streamer? And we're hacking live. Please tell me if the words sounded natural. I guess the quality of the dialogue could be a little bit better because you told me that Germany. Okay, so Lana lived in Germany. So, and you think that the text to speech sounded okay. All right. But yeah. I guess I've lived in Japan for a little while, and the Japanese dialogue sounded pretty good to me. The Japanese text to speech. Aber ich war essen gehen. You wouldn't say that in German. Okay, so but the quality of the dialogue was a little bit not as good as a native educator creating a dialogue. So I guess there's some things that could be improved on, but it seems like Gemini is coming out to be the preferred choice if you want to learn a foreign language using an LLM model. But Lana, I didn't know that you lived in Germany for 5 years. That must have been very exciting. I actually enjoy. There's one German restaurant in my city, and I've only been there a couple of times. But I always have a good time when I go out and I eat schnitzel, like breaded pork cutlet. It's really good. And I also like bratwurst and sauerkraut. So I guess those are all of the stereotypical German foods. But I really like that stuff. Every once in a while. I don't think I could have it all the time. All right. So is there anything else that we need to investigate as far as AI and foreign languages are concerned? So the problem is that you couldn't. So even though you could ask the AI to give you a bunch of vocabulary terms, I couldn't ask for it to check my pronunciation because the microphone doesn't pick up non-English languages. But you know what? I think we could check for pronunciation on Google Translate. So if we were to go to Google Translate, translate.google.com, we could for example, we could do Japanese. I was just thinking about me pronouncing German, and that would be a big disaster. But we could do Japanese, and then we could translate it into English, and we could practice our pronunciation that way. So We're Hacking Live says, it's a fairy tale that we ate a lot of sauerkraut and definitely not schnitzel. Well, I mean, I guess there are stereotypes, and it's a fairy tale that we eat a lot of sauerkraut. But do you eat a lot of oh geez, what is it called again? Do you eat a lot of, oh gosh, what is the word for German sausages again? Okay, so anyways, here we've got Japanese, and we can try testing our pronunciation in Japanese, and we can translate it out to English. We can use the microphone here with the translate by voice. For example, it's I could say, はじめまして、私はシャイハットです。よろしくお願いします。Oh, I guess I need to turn on the microphone. はじめまして、私はシャイハットです。よろしくお願いします。Okay, so that works. That works, and it was able to. Well, even though my pronunciation isn't the best, it was able to pick up what I was saying. So I guess you could test out your pronunciation by using this tool right here. But of course, I guess you could say that this is AI because it is AI translation. So it would be a mix of using Google Translate and then maybe Google. Oh, these are both Google products. All right. Cool. That's pretty awesome. So just because we're hacking live and Lana are here, let me try pronouncing some of this. How are you? Mir geht es gut, danke. Let's try these two pieces of dialogue over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this in Google Translate. And we're going to switch the language from Japanese to German. And I'm going to learn how to pronounce these words. Okay, so I'm going to listen to this. Oh, listen to this.
Wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut, danke.
Wie geht es dir? Wie geht es dir? It's all okay as far as any German would understand it. Wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut. Let me listen one more time.
Wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut, danke.
Okay, so wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut, danke. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it in my background, and then I'm going to try to pronounce it and see if Google Translate is able to pick that up for German. Okay, so German to English. Let's try this out. Wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut, danke.
Wie geht es dir? Mir geht es gut, danke.
Okay. Well, I appreciate how you have not taken offense to me trying to learn German. I hear that German and English have a lot of similarities in common. So as far as vocabulary is concerned, well, some vocabulary anyways. But I hear that the closest language to English is actually Dutch, and I've heard that that German people have a lot of interesting things to say about the way Dutch sounds to them. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll try Dutch just for fun. Let's try doing it in Gemini. Please create the same dialogue in Dutch. So this looks much similar to. This looks even more similar to English than German does. All right, so let's try text to speeching this out and see how it sounds.
A basic Dutch conversation between coworkers.
Vocabulary. Hoe gaat het met je? How are you? Met mij gaat het goed, dank je. I'm good, thanks. En met jou? And you? In het weekend on the weekend. Ik was. In de stad in die city. Naar de bioscoop to the cinema. Uit eten gaan to go out to eat. Dialogue. Persoon A, hoe gaat het met je? Persoon B, met mij gaat het goed, dank je. En met jou? Persoon A, met mij ook goed. Wat heb je in het weekend gedaan? Persoon B, ik ben naar de stad geweest en heb boodschappen gedaan. 'S Avonds ben ik naar de bioscoop geweest. Persoon A, leuk. Ik ben ook in de stad geweest, maar ik ben uit eten gegaan.
Translation. Person A. How are you? Person B. I'm good, thanks. And you? Person A. Me too. What did you...
Wow, I actually had a harder time understanding that than understanding the German. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure why, but I do appreciate that that we switched over to native accents when we started doing the dialogue. Okay, but yeah, it seems like if we do a combination of some different language models, maybe Gemini, we can combine Gemini with Google Translate. We could definitely learn languages that way, but switching between apps is kind of a pain. But it's certainly better than it's a lot better than just trying to figure out a foreign language by yourself or like buying a book, because you're able to test out your pronunciation with Google Translate and listen to some pretty close to native voices by using Google Gemini over here. So let's create a list of common nouns. No, common verbs. Common verbs in let's say German. Limit the list to 20 to 15 or less verbs. So one thing I've heard about German is that German is very, very complex as far as grammar is concerned. So I think that conjugating verbs should be very difficult. Oh, interesting. Now, let's see if we do text-to-speech, if it's going to pronounce this in the English accent or the German accent.
"15 common German verbs. Here are 15 essential German verbs to get you started. 1. Sein, to be.
Oh, no.
2. Haben, to have. 3. Machen, to do, make. 4. Gehen, to go. 5. Kommen, to.
Okay, I'm going to stop that because I'm sure the German speakers are not happy with the way these words are pronounced. So I guess it would be difficult to. We would not be able to listen to native German accents by asking for a list like this, because the amount of German to English is about the same, so it's going to default to speaking with the English accent. So that's kind of unfortunate. All right, so what are some other important things we need to know when we're trying to learn foreign languages using LLM models? So you know what? We're going to ask ChatGPT this question. When learning foreign languages using ChatGPT as a language learning tool, what are some important considerations and exercises that the model can be used for to help students learn? Okay, so reading comprehension, okay. Role-playing exercise. I guess one thing I didn't really consider is having ChatGPT create quizzes. So let's try asking. So I've studied Japanese for a while, so I'm going to ask Gemini over here. Please create a quiz on Japanese greetings that I can take Okay, so Lana says the verbs are accurate. Keep in mind that it's speaking from either a first person or third person speech perspective. So this seems to, yeah, that makes sense because these are probably the forms of the verb that you see in the dictionary. Because this is the way that it appears in the English dictionary as well as in a Japanese dictionary, that you usually have. The way they're going to format this is in a format that everybody understands. In this case, the form that goes in the dictionary is what they're going to teach, and they're not going to teach the conjugated forms of the verb. Okay, so instructions. Read the following Japanese words and choose the correct translations from the ones provided. Konnichiwa is hello. No, wait. Konnichiwa is hello. Arigato is thank you. Sumimasen is sorry. Hi, yes. Okay, so the question is, would you like to take the quiz now? Yes, I would like to take the quiz. How should I submit my answers? So it's going to ask you, ready to begin? I'll say yes. Konnichiwa is hello. Oh, okay. So it was asking. It was looking for the letter. Okay, so the letter is B. Okay, so arigato is B. Thank you. And number 3. Sumimasen. What is the correct translation? It is, this one means sorry. Move on to question 4. Okay, sure. So I think there's only one more after this. So hi means yes. And I guess yeah means no. Okay, you got all the answers correct. It says great job. Okay, that's great. Can you rewrite the quiz using Romaji instead of hiragana? So for some people, they're not going to be able to read Japanese script immediately. So we could ask the chatbot to give us an easier version of Japanese to read. Okay. So this is the easier version over here. All right. So let's well, just for fun, before we finish off today's stream, let's ask for a quiz on German, on German greetings, please. Okay, please write the same quiz, but for common German greetings. Okay, so this isn't really much of a this isn't really much of a challenge because I think I know all of these terms in German except for a bend, and I'm assuming that a bend means afternoon, and then I don't even know how to pronounce this word. This means does this mean hello? So hello means hello, and tschüss means I'm assuming this means goodbye. But you know what? We could check with Google Translate. So let's plug in this. Tschüss. How do you pronounce this?
Tschüss.
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 Tschüss. Tschüss.
Tschüss. I assume that tschüss is less formal, kind of a colloquial way of saying goodbye. Tschüss. It sounds really cool. Anyways, all right. So, all right, everybody. So we're gonna do tschüss, bye, see you. Oh yeah. And ja means yes in German. Awesome. All right. So I think after investigating for about an hour or so, we see that the best combination for learning languages using LLMs is probably going to be Google Gemini combined with Google Translate over here to test your pronunciation. But yeah, well, one thing I didn't test out was Claude AI. But actually, you know what? Claude AI is not going to be as good. And another thing that we could consider is also Bing Chat. Because Bing Chat also has a microphone that we can use. So hello, Bing Chat. Oh no.
I'm sorry, but I can't continue this conversation. Goodbye.
All right, so it didn't. One bad thing about Bing is that you're only allowed to ask 5 questions in the same. You're only allowed to ask five questions in the same conversation thread before it ends the conversation. Also, the speech recognition of Bing seems to be less accurate than for Gemini. Okay, so let's try that again. Hello, Bing app. Could you please write me a conversation?
Hi there. How can I assist you today?
Could you please write me a... Oh, hold on. Could you please write me a conversation between 2 Japanese coworkers talking about their weekend?
Sure. Here's a conversation between 2 Japanese coworkers discussing their weekend. Here's a conversation between 2 Japanese coworkers discussing their weekend. Tanaka-san, 週末はどうでしたか? Suzuki-san, 週末はとても楽しかったです。家族と一緒に箱根に行って温泉に入りました。Tanaka-san、それはいいですね。箱根の温泉は有名ですよね。どの温泉に行ったんですか? Suzuki-san、天成園というところに行きました。景色も素晴らしくてリラックスできましたよ。Tanaka-san、いいですね。私は週末に友達と一緒に映画を見に行きました。君の名はを見ましたが、とても感動しました。Suzuki-san、ああ、それはいい映画ですよね。私も見ました。音楽も素晴らしかったです。Tanaka-san、そうですね。週末にリフレッシュできて、今週も頑張れそうです。Suzuki-san、その通りです。今週もお互い頑張りましょう。今週もお互い頑張りましょう。I hope you enjoyed this little dialogue. If you need anything else, feel free to ask.
Okay, so there was so the problem in this And the problem in this case was when it did text to speech, it all of a sudden pronounced this word right here in Mandarin and in Chinese. So that was interesting. But aside from that, it started out with the English accent because it included some English words over here. But as the dialogue went, the accent became better. So that was very strange. So I guess you could use Bing as an alternative to using Gemini as a language training app. But let me I don't want to go on for too much longer. But let's ask Bing to come up with a vocabulary list for something. Okay, so let's ask it something. New topic. Please give me a vocabulary list and its translations in Japanese for a list of things and activities that you would do at the beach.
Sure. Here are some common things and activities you might do at the beach, along with their Japanese translations. Things at the beach. Beach beachy. Sand suna. Sea umi. Sun teo. Towel tauru. Umbrella kasa. Swimsuit mizugi. Sunglasses sangarasu. Cooler kara. Beach ball baikaboru. Activities at the beach. Swimming oyogu. Sunbathing nikiyoku. Building sandcastles, Suna no Shiro o Tsukuru. Surfing Safin. Beach volleyball, Bike Bear. Snorkeling, Shinokuringu.
Okay, I don't want to read this anymore. All right. So when it switched over to the native Japanese accent, it did sound okay. But in this case, like in ChatGPT, because the amount of English and the amount of Japanese is equal, it opts to read in the English accent, and the pronunciation is pretty horrendous. It's bad. So I guess these kind of lists in particular are not going to come up very well if you want to learn the native pronunciation for a foreign language. But I guess we just need to bear this in mind. But thank you very much to everybody who participated in today's stream. We learned about SQL, the language. We didn't learn about hacking. We're going to be learning about hacking next week for SQL injection. And we also learned about whether or not we can use AI to learn foreign languages. And the conclusion is, yes, we can. But there are certain apps that are better at doing it than others. I guess Gemini is probably a combination of Gemini and Google Translate is probably going to be your best bet as far as learning foreign languages is concerned, teaching yourself how to do it. But thank you very much to everybody for joining me today. And we're going to be back on Wednesday. But until then, everybody, see you next time.
Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in.